9. It being a Saturday, there's a moment to take a breath, to pause, to reflect on some of the more interesting things that happened in the week that just passed, but maybe didn't quite make into the headlines, or things that we should keep an eye on are going to matter in many weeks, many months' time. And here to help us do it in the studio, the editors of the country's two big political weeklies. On the right, Lord Gove, Michael Gove is here, editor of The Spectator magazine. On the left, the editor of The New Statesman, Tom McTague. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us. Morning.
Let us begin with Europe, Michael, a cause close to your heart. Do you feel, as one of the leading Brexiteers, that maybe those comments by the Deputy Prime Minister hinting that Labour may want to take not just a step but a stride closer to Brussels will change the politics of this conversation?
I think it is a sign of a change. I think that there are a number of people on the progressive left who think that doing more than they've done so far in re-establishing relations with Europe can act as a sort of electoral Viagra. That the scattered forces of the progressive left, some of which are clustered around Zach Plansky and the Greens, some of which, of course, have moved to the Liberal Democrats, can all be brought back under one banner. And that there is nothing so exciting for progressive voices across all of these parties, nothing so uniting as the idea that we can overturn what they see as the historic crime of Brexit. I think that there are formidable political and economic problems for any government that's seeking to move towards rejoining the EU. And I think in particular, the invocation of the customs union is economically illiterate, because to rejoin the customs union, you have to accept a common external tariff, and that means that the trade deals with America and India that the government are so proud of would have to go in the bin.
Tom, let's begin with the politics, then we'll go on to the policy. Is Michael Gove right that the temptation is on the left to find this sort of single unifying cause that can bring these disparate forces together?
Absolutely. I mean, and it is happening partly because of the political problems that the government is facing. So they need to galvanise their own supporters. They need to galvanise the country around something. They are giving up, it seems, on the idea that they can stick with the coalition that they assembled at the last election. So they need to find a new coalition. And part of the reason that the government is in such difficulty is they're losing supporters to the Lib Dems, to the Greens, and to others to their left. Now, this is what is going on now in British politics. We are seeing a polarisation on the right and the left, and a kind of hollowing out of the old centre.
Now, David Lammy says that what he wants to do is look at the customs union, but stresses it wasn't in the manifesto. It's not going to happen now. What's your answer, Tom, to Michael Gove's policy objection, which is, it may sound all very well, will it involve reversing things that have already been done?
I mean, it's true. It's true. The problem is, though, the government can just simply say, well, we will negotiate. We will negotiate something better, because you don't just enter the EU's customs union. You negotiate a new customs union between the UK and the EU. The idea that you just kind of walk back to something that exists is not the case. So they have an argument that in response to Michael.
But maybe, Michael, it's a banner under which you unite.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, you don't need a practical series of policies and a manifesto. You just need to say, this is whose side I'm on.
Yeah, no, I think that is fair enough. And I think that, as ever, the debate on Britain's relationships with Europe operates on an emotional and an intellectual level. And on an emotional level, the idea that we should move far closer than we currently are does have that quickening of the pulse effect for a broad progressive coalition. But as Tom acknowledges, and as your question also hinted at, the EU itself is not going to say, oh, that's great, come on, back in, previous terms, everything's fine. We've seen, even in the relatively small steps that Nick Thomas-Symonds, a very capable negotiator on behalf of the government, I should add, has undertaken, that when it comes to a defence pact, when it comes to a youth mobility scheme, the EU has said, very interesting, you're interested, here are our terms, and they're much tougher